Hi, food friends. Welcome to Cavalcade of Food. It's Kevin.
Hey, Kevin. I'm Ralph over here behind the camera.
And tonight we're going, as we often do around here, a little on the French side.
Julia Child style?
Well, not quite, but somewhat inspired by Julia. We're going to make beef Burgundy.
Also known as?
Boeuf bourguignon in the French.
Oh, okay.
But we're going to do kind of we're not going to go do quite the laborious
extensive
effort.
Okay.
That I've made hers her way, and it is wonderful. But we're going to do a little more of an American version of this dish. But a lot of the principles are the same.
There's a gigantic cut of meat over there.
That is about a 2.5 pound chuck roast.
And then what are you doing here?
You could also use an English roast. I've got about 3-4 strips of bacon here, and I'm making lardons, or I'm just dicing this up into small pieces. Okay, because what we're going to start with in this recipe is bacon. So
I didn't know bacon was in beef Burgundy.
it is. What we actually start with is the bacon, because we want the fat from the bacon. Okay, you hear the sizzle?
I do.
So what we're gonna kind of do here is we're gonna let that bacon cook. Let me get a wooden spoon. In terms of your utensils, really nice to use like a Dutch oven if you can, or you see I've got this is one of these enamel coated cast iron Dutch ovens, these pots. But you could use any kind of tall stewing pot.
Is this where everything's going to be done, or is this just the first step?
This is just step one. So what we want to do is we want to render the bacon down. Oh, do you mean we're cooking everything in this pot?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Sorry.
Okay, good.
So for right now, we're gonna render this bacon down. In other words, rendering really means to pull the fat,
reduce it
out of it,
down to the liquid,
and because
the oil.
What we're going to do is we're going to brown our meat in the bacon fat. Okay. So while that's doing that, I'm going to take our roast here. We're actually going to cut this up. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take this nice, beautiful
marbled
chuck roast, marbled, and again, that marbling, that fat is going to help give us some nice flavor. And this is a dish that, frankly, needs to cook for a while, just like a pot roast. And I'm cubing this meat. Now, sometimes you can find the meat cubed already. I kind of like doing it myself. But I'm going to make this into about 1-inch cubes here.
This gives it that personal touch.
Yes. And I'm just going to cut through it. And I'm going to continue cutting the roast. We're going to keep an eye on our bacon here as it renders. And, it's giving off its nice fat.
And we'll enjoy some music from French pianist and composer André Previn.
André Previn. Very nice. So we'll try not to over-French it today, but anyways, we're making beef Burgundy for dinner right here on Cavalcade.
Cavalcade of Food.
Okay. Using a slotted spoon, I'm scraping up the bacon.
Did it get crispy?
It did get semi-crisp, and you can see now in the pan we've got some fat down there. And you see on the bottom of the pan you've got those sort of marks there where the bacon cooked.
Yes.
A lot of flavor right there. We're going to let our bacon there. Here's our meat. So we're going to do this in batches. We're going to take our chuck roast that we've cubed up, and we're going to brown these in the bacon fat. So we have to do this in batches.
So the heat has stayed pretty much the same, or did you raise it or lower it?
It's on medium heat. So we're going to get the beef, brown in the fat. Now,
That's braising it, right?
yeah, no, that's browning.
Searing it.
Searing, yeah.
Is that right? Okay, so that's called searing it.
I'm going to keep a little olive oil out in case I might need to add to this. We'll see. But see that nice brown? Oh yeah, that's just what you want right there. So we're going to keep on, and of course the beef has fat in it too. So we're just really rendering fat. We're browning in it, and we're developing lots of great flavor in this pot. Okay, so we're going to keep doing this in our little batches. And as the beef browns, I'll take it out, I'll put it in this bowl, and then we'll put more in there. So this is the process. We've got all of our meat out. Look at that, how beautiful, huh?
That looks and smells good.
Yeah, it has a beautiful sear on it. I'm going to put just a little bit more olive oil here. About another tablespoon into our Dutch oven. Here's what I've got. I got 2 cloves of garlic minced, 1 really big onion, okay,
Just kind of
chopped, roughly chopped, and 3 carrots, okay, chopped up, peeled and chopped.
3 little carrots?
They're about medium size, I guess. They weren't that big. So we're going to get them coated with oil here.
With that flavorful oil of the bacon and the meat.
And we're going to cook these until we want these to start to caramelize, okay?
All right.
So it's probably going to take about 8-10 minutes, and they'll start to soften. So we'll let the vegetables do their thing. We'll get cleaned up a little bit around here. That's done. This will end up going back in, but for right now we're just on our vegetables. So again, onions, garlic, and carrots, and man, it smells good already.
Sure does. And guess what I found out?
Tell me.
Andre Previn is not French.
He's not.
He's
imposter.
All this time I thought he was too. But he was born in Berlin. His name is His real name is Andreas Ludwig Pruin.
Ah.
So he Frenched it up.
Okay, that's all right. Wherever you are, Andre Previn, we're enjoying the music today. And by the way, beef Burgundy. Now, Burgundy is a wine from France that is made in the Burgundy region of France. So that's why it's called Burgundy, right, Ralph?
Right.
The grapes that are grown there are really Pinot Noir grapes. So if you want to use a French Burgundy, by all means do it. If not, just get yourself a bottle of Pinot Noir. There's some wonderful California versions of that, and it'll do just fine.
So it's basically a dry red wine?
Dry red wine, yeah, that's what we're using.
That's what makes it the Burgundy part, which we'll be getting to next.
Yep.
When
so
we
in
come
the
back.
meantime, we'll get our vegetables finished here and get ready for our next step, but our beef burger. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. Look how nice and soft those onions are.
Caramelized.
And you can see the carrots are starting to get a little color on them. And you see all that stuff down at the bottom? We're gonna start working on that. Now what I'm gonna do is I got a couple tablespoons of flour here. Okay? So we're gonna put that in. And we're gonna kinda cook that flour off.
Is that called a roux?
Yes. So, we had fat in the pot, right? We had the bacon grease, the beef fat that kind of rendered out,
right.
And of course I put in a little olive oil as well.
To keep things moving.
Just to keep things moving. And now what we're doing is we're kind of gonna coat
all the veggies
in the flour. And this will sort of help to thicken things up as we move along. Okay. Now I've got some tomato paste here. I only need a couple tablespoons. So sometimes it's good to use the tube if you have, which I don't. I'm going to put a couple tablespoons of tomato paste in here. So what this does is the tomato paste not only is a thickener as well, but it will also sort of really deepen the flavor. But the key to using this tomato paste is we want to cook it a little bit. I'm going to turn the heat up just a tad and get this tomato paste cooked with the vegetables. This is pretty music. Is this still Andre Previn, or is this somebody else?
This is a fellow named Armando and his orchestra doing something like music to drink champagne by or something.
Oh, I'm all for that.
Let's see if I can grab it real quick. Champagne for dinner. And
We're having champagne for dinner.
And it's got some pieces on there like called French champagne, and so yeah, we're trying to kind of keep a bit of a French theme.
All right. So flour's in, tomato paste is cooked a little bit. Now here comes the Burgundy. 2 cups.
Or in this case, a Pinot.
Yes.
Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir. Which Noir is black, right? Dark.
And Pinot
is like a pine. Like, because the grapes look like little black pine cones.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what we really want to do now.
Now it's turning into beef bourguignon.
Yes. We're going to take the heat up a little bit because you remember all that stuff at the bottom of the pan?
Right.
We got to scrape that up. We got to get that. We want to dissolve that.
So that actually needs the physicality of the spoon scraping on the bottom.
That's like the fond, they call it. This is we want to really, so this liquid, of course, is going to help
bring out that intensified flavor.
I might even use a different utensil if I have one. That might.
Something that's better for scraping?
Yeah, let's see. I guess this is working okay. All right, we also need to season. So I'm going to put in, maybe a half a teaspoon of pepper, about a teaspoon of salt. I want to put in a little thyme. This is dried thyme, about a quarter of a teaspoon. We've got some bay leaves here also. Now it's bubbling. You can feel the bottom of the pan where you still have stuff to kind of scrape off.
So you want to just keep doing that till it's all loosened up? For a couple of reasons. One is that if you don't, it may burn, and the other is because that's where all the secret, hidden, intensified flavors
are.
living.
That's right. So, here we go. The bottom of the pan's almost smooth now. I can feel it.
Alrighty.
Now that is kind of going, we're going to take our meat and our bacon, right? Which we had browned earlier, and we're going to return it to the pot. So
this is almost like a French beef stew.
Exactly. So let's take the heat down.
And this always stays on the top of the stove. It doesn't ever go in the oven?
You could put it in the oven if you want, but we're not going to.
This is one of the quicker ways.
And it's
Not necessary.
it's not necessary, and this is actually the way it's done. Okay? So, now let's kind of get the beef and our vegetables mixed a little bit and covered. So we get our top here, and you know what? We're going to put it on a simmer. We'll see you in an hour and a half. Okay? Low and slow. So this is really where it's going to develop the flavor, the tenderness of the meat.
The deep, rich flavors.
There's another essential ingredient that goes in here, and that's mushrooms. But we don't put them in quite yet.
I see.
Because if we did, they'd cook down to nothing. So we'll put those in like the last half hour. So it's been cooking little more than an hour. Take a look, Ralph. Simmering away. Oh,
and smells good.
Smells divine. All right. Let me just sort of set that there.
The dry wine and the thyme gives it a real distinct flavor or aroma that goes really well with the beef.
You can see the onions, the carrots. Now, I've got
the last bit.
Yeah, almost about a pound of mushrooms. And these are just, kind of rough chopped here.
So those go in at the last half hour?
Last half hour.
Because they cook down quicker than the other stuff.
They do. You don't want to get them, but...
Too dissolved.
Yep, they'll cook we're going to put our lid back on. And, you know, another thing that you could throw in at this point, too, if you wanted it a little bit more oniony, you could throw in some pearl onions also, is a nice touch. But the mushrooms are a real traditional part. So, it's cooking away. Now, we're going to serve this over some noodles. You could serve it over rice. We're going to serve it over some nice egg noodles. That's how we're going to eat it. And I'm going to get ready. I'm going to make some popovers. We're going to have that because that goes great with beef. And I know somebody really loves popovers.
Me.
And what else?
Swiss chard.
Swiss chard. That's right. We're going to saute some Swiss chard. That's our vegetable. So that's the whole meal. But anyways, we're almost done with our beef burgundy.
Wow, look at those popovers.
So I'm just going to put a little slot in there so that they can vent out. They're almost done. Don't those look good?
Sure do.
So that's going to go with our beef burgundy, which, by the way, is pretty much done.
Can't wait to
You
try
can
it.
get there we are. Isn't that lovely?
Lovely.
So we're going to make some egg noodles. Going to cook some Swiss chard and some olive oil and garlic here. And we're going to have our meal. So we're going to come back, I think, when we serve.
All right, sounds
How's
good.
that?
Can't wait
Sunday
to try
dinner.
it.
Beef burger, making all kinds of racket here, but we're good to go. I cooked some egg noodles, and now I'm going to take our, oh, look at that,
A beef
our
burgundy.
beef burgundy. And let me get a ladle here. And if you could smell it. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to just sort of serve this over our noodles.
So the cook time was about an hour and a half
Well,
or more.
actually it was, let's call it 2.5.
Oh, okay. So this is a good slow cooking recipe.
Because by the time we got everything ready, but it's one of those things where you can keep on the stove, you need an extra 45 minutes, and not hurt it.
Mm-hmm. And it was 2 cups of dry red wine,
2 cups of Pinot Noir, yes.
the Burgundy or the Pinot.
So we've got there's our wonderful, and you want the Christmas gravy. It's like,
gravy,
gold.
Boy, does that look good. We thought we'd call it like a French beef stew.
And that's really,
A
honestly,
simplification.
yeah, but it's really what it is.
And this is a simplified kind of version of the beef Burgundy, isn't it? Did you say?
It is. There's Julia Child's version. Then here's our Swiss chard, which we're going to serve with it.
And those popovers, which
Popovers,
we
which
showed
are
earlier.
at the table. But
There we
go. Okay. So this is beef Burgundy.
A la Kevin. A la Cavalcade of food.
A la Cavalcade. So, anyways, thanks for being a part of this Sunday dinner. We had a great time. Hope you did too. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.